Joining me is Roger Stone, former head of the Trump campaign, to give us the intel on the new FBI director releasing all these emails from the Clinton era and the Obama era, with Mueller ordering the investigation shut down. We also have the ongoing Justice Department trying to block and have gag orders against the informants from speaking to Congress about what they know with real Russian collusion and the Uranium One deal. But these new emails being released by the FBI director signals a big change, and looks like justice is about to be done, a little bird told me. Another little bird told me about what was going on with General Flynn. And is he really talking to Mueller? Is that really true? Because he stopped talking to the Trump administration. Another little bird told me that's because there's a bunch of leakers in there. You might as well be talking to Mueller. It's not that we don't trust Trump, it's that he's surrounded. So joining us via Skype is Roger Stone. Roger, thank you for joining us.
Alex, great to be here.
Well, let's get right into the FBI director, the new director. This is big. Tell us what your sources tell you.
I spoke to a member of Congress yesterday who tells me that all Washington is buzzing about the fact that 75 pages of emails were posted on the FBI's website, The Vault, but not pursuant to any request from Congress. This is most curious, and indeed, these emails represent a bombshell. Among other things, they showed the special treatment that was afforded to Hillary Clinton by FBI Director James Comey. And essentially, they pierced the cover-up in the email scandal which dogged her through the presidential campaign. They also document further the violations of the Hatch Act by the Deputy FBI Director Andrew McCabe. Now, you'll remember, Alex, that McCabe's wife was running for the Virginia State Senate, and the Clintons funneled $457,000 to her campaign through a PAC controlled by Virginia Governor Terry McAuliffe, a longtime Clinton running dog and ally. So McCabe has deep legal problems. Comey's problems are now compounded. What does all this mean? A source very close to the new FBI director told me that this is the signal that Director Wray has decided to clean house, that the Obama-era figures still at the FBI are not long for this world.
Wow. So this is a real glimmer of hope here that he might actually do his job, because the level of Russian and communist Chinese and other foreign collusion of the Democrats is just staggering. And then Mueller killing the investigation of the Clintons in the middle of all this, buying off the shipping companies, buying off the mines, buying off the Canadian government. I mean, this was a real Russian operation that was successful, getting 20 to 30% of our strategic weapons-grade uranium stockpile. I mean, you talk about classic spy stuff, with Mueller delivering weapons-grade samples on tarmacs.
There is nothing more, Alex, than the Comey, Mueller, McCabe gang fears more than a special prosecutor on the matter of Uranium One. That's because such an investigation would necessarily entail both Mueller and Comey, who both headed the FBI during that investigation, McCabe, who was also there, but additionally, then U.S. Attorney Rod Rosenstein. How ironic that the four men who are twisting Donald Trump's tail at this very moment would find themselves under federal investigation. Now, the current legal problem lies in the fact that Attorney General Jeff Sessions has recused himself in the Uranium One matter. That means, technically, that the person in charge of appointing a special prosecutor on Uranium One is none other than Deputy Attorney General Rod Rosenstein. Will Rosenstein appoint a special prosecutor to look into Rosenstein? Highly unlikely. That's why the decision must go to the U.S. Solicitor General. a solid Republican and a man who takes his responsibilities seriously. The house of cards is about to come down.
I was about to say, in the meantime, I want to get into Flynn and other subjects, but let me just interject. Now we see the colossal error that Trump made getting rid of Flynn, which he admits, and how they buffaloed the entire administration basically with this rogue move to appoint a special prosecutor when it was Rosenstein clearly covering his butt for Uranium One the entire time, getting Sessions to recuse himself with no connections to it. He should recuse himself now when he's up to his eyeballs. Mr. Rosenstein, this is outrageous.
It is indeed. Now, this same member of Congress tells me that 95% of the members of Congress for whom the U.S. taxpayers paid out to cover up sexual assault settlements are Democrats. That's why Nancy Pelosi is struggling mightily to keep this list from the American people. I think it is inexorable, Alex, that those names are going to come out, and we're going to see more of what we saw in the instance of John Conyers, the senior Michigan Democrat who Nancy Pelosi incredibly called an icon over the weekend. It was Conyers who led the charge for the impeachment of my mentor, Richard Nixon. Somewhere, Nixon is smiling.
Can you hear me?
It's just amazing, amazing arrogance. But as you said, the house of cards is coming down.
Let us go now to the question of General Flynn, because I think this is very important. The headline that we showed just a few moments ago that indicated that Flynn, because he has ceased communications between his lawyers and the president's lawyers, has turned on the president. I am told at the very, very highest levels of the Flynn camp that this is untrue, that Flynn's loyalty to the president remains intact, despite the fact that he was sacked only 30 days into his tenure as NSA director. And that indeed, that the reason that they have ceased the cooperation and the communications is solely because of the leaks inside the Trump White House. Flynn's lawyers fear that anything they tell the president's lawyers will end up on the desk of Robert Mueller.
Roger Stone is our guest here. Again, if we pull back from this, you can see the colossal bluff they've been engaged in, completely in bed with the Russians, the Chinese, anybody else that would buy them off. Red-handed, all of them personally making millions of dollars off of it in front of God and country, and now desperately trying to spy on Trump to find something, thinking, well, if we sold out to the Russians, maybe he'll sell out too, then we can control him. Not finding anything, the panic is only intensified. Now they've illegally leaked, they've illegally spied, they've been caught lying about it all. This just gets crazier and crazier.
Well, and the real sign, Alex, that the jig is up is the way the mainstream media has turned viciously on the Clintons in the last 10 days, where suddenly among their biggest offenders in the media are those saying, well, perhaps we should have impeached Bill Clinton over Monica Lewinsky. Perhaps it was time to take a closer look at Bill's activities. The problem remains the same, though. Half the mainstream media continues to harp on Bill's consensual but distasteful sexual relationships rather than his track record of vicious assault on women such as Juanita Broderick, Kathleen Willey, and others. The worm has turned. The Clintons' time in the barrel is upon us.
We're going to come back in 70 seconds and get into what does the collapse look like. What's the next shoe to drop? What does the Clintons' time in the barrel look like? And can the civil war inside the Democratic Party be won by either side, or will it deliciously just continue on and on? Hour number 2, straight ahead. I'm Alex Jones. Stay with us.